Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Anything But Everything podcast. And this is like our fifth intro into this because I'm having some internet issues, but we're making it through it. So apologies if we seem if the audio seems weird or we kind of lag out. But anyway, this is the end of the year wrap up for 2020. We have some thoughts on what this year has brought, but we also have some good things. So this episode, we're gonna bring you some of our uh, top things that we've that have brought us through this year, like movies and music and some other things. So hopefully that will be a nice nice remedy to what else is out there. But I'm joined today by Steven. How are you doing, Steven?
Doing well, man. Just hanging in there. We're almost there. We're at the finish line, ready to start a new chapter in 2021. But yeah, 2020. It's almost over. It seems pretty surreal that we're almost here. But yeah, I'm ready to talk about 2020. I guess.
Yeah. As of this recording, we're almost 24 hours away from the new year. Uh, so it's like it feels like 1 year, exactly 1 year ago, we had like if we could talk to our younger selves 1 year ago and just warn them about what they have to face ahead, I was just like, yeah, like looking back, it's just 1 year ago seems so far away. But hey, we
Yeah,
made it.
and we were so happy.
Yeah,
Here we are, just like we're talking to each other, making plans like, hey, we're gonna party it up. We got the fireworks. Now we're like, just we're grizzly old men, just limping our way to the finish line. A lot of bumps and bruises.
yeah,
But some good times,
yeah.
but we're just kind of like shooing away the years, like, hey, we're done with you now. We're ready to
I know.
hopefully move on to better and brighter things.
Yeah, I feel like that vehicle in like Mad Max Fury Road as they're traveling down the road and you see all these raiders come in and just like start hammering on the vehicle, and by the time they hit the finish line there's like maybe one wheel
One
left, and
left,
there's
yeah, yeah,
like half the vehicle's gone, and the only thing that's really working is like the lock on the door. It's so the
exactly,
that's how I feel right
exactly.
now. Like we're slowly limping to the finish line, but hey, it's
We're here,
still,
man. We're
yeah,
here.
we're
We're
here.
here.
We're here.
We're yeah.
We made it. We made it. So before we get into our list of things that of top things of 2020, I just want to ask you like this one question. Uh, so of course the big thing that dominated 2020 was the coronavirus pandemic. And looking back through these like 9 months of having to deal with this, I want to look back at like the start of it all. So I just want to ask you, like, where were you when you first heard the news of the coronavirus, and when did you realize that this thing is gonna um, probably affect our lives in
Hmm.
dramatic ways? What were you where were you and what were you doing at that time? Do you remember?
Well, I mean, I was at home, and you know, I was just scroll through Twitter, just my usually daily routine. Um, and I follow some, out of the hundreds of people I follow, I actually follow some pretty, reputable people, and they were talking about this virus that came from Wuhan, China, um, and it started like something like, oh, it's like it's something over there, right? And you're just kind of like, we'll never make it over here, or or it's just something that'll probably be contained. But once you started to see different countries and stuff like that start to get affected, where you see different cases and like, or like Spain and Italy and all that stuff, it just started to get a little surreal. And I think the moment where it was kind of like it kind of felt real is maybe a couple days after, the US started getting cases and stuff like that. And we had this person at work in the it was in the cafeteria, and someone was like coughing really really bad, and literally like they shut down the whole cafeteria. They had to basically clean the whole thing, and we were just kind of like, people were going to the cafeteria and it was closed, and people were like, what the hell's going on? And then the next day they talked about how there's going to be more restrictions. So I guess like when it kind of felt real for me is when my work started getting involved, and just having to deal with that on a daily basis. Not just not me getting the virus, but actually like seeing the the reaction outside of with work and around the country. So that's kind of where I first kind of thought everything was kind of getting a little too crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For me, like when I first realized that the coronavirus was going to be a big deal was when the first movie of the year got delayed, which was
oh
A
yeah,
Quiet
yeah.
Place Part 2, because I had made plans to go see it. And this is when like the director John Krasinski was like, "Yeah, we're gonna cancel this and move this down the line." I was like, "Oh, okay, like okay, I understand that." But then after that, it was like a domino effect. We're like, okay,
Hmm.
James Bond moved. All the summer movies moved. All the summer movies got canceled. I'm like, whoa, 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 stop,
Yeah,
stop, stop.
yeah,
Like I thought you guys were
yeah.
just moving like 1 or 2 months down the line, but they were like 2021. I'm like, no, that's too far away. What happened to like just going a couple months? Like slow down, everyone, stop slowing down. I need my movies.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so that
Yeah,
was
like
when, yeah, that was when like I knew this thing was a big deal. And then at work, people started talking about the toilet paper shortages. And I'm just like, what are you
oh yeah,
talking
yeah.
about? It's like toilet paper and paper towels are going to be here for a long time. And then I wake up one day and we have at work, we have a line of people outside
Hmm.
our our store at like wanting toilet paper. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So that's when I knew like, okay, this is starting to get serious. It's not just some like seasonal flu. This is gonna be a big thing. But
Yeah, like speaking on which, like you're talking about the movies. Another big moment that kind of signaled everything going kind of just from, to all the way scaled up to like 11 was, I remember the NBA season was starting, and or just it was actually still happening. It was like after the All-Star break, it was like in March or something around that time. It was the Jazz and the Thunder were playing a basketball game, and one of the players for the Jazz got coronavirus and basically like shut down the game, like postponed the game. That was the first big thing that happened in sports, was that game was canceled, and then probably probably like a couple hours later they announced the season is canceled. So
really,
that was,
golly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was like the big news throughout that whole time, was like, you would think they would just kind of play through it and stuff like that. They had fans in the stands and everything, but when one of the players got it, and you have all this crowd of people, we don't know, like we didn't know contract tracing at the time. So it was just kind of like, what did we do? So they canceled it, and then the commissioner canceled the whole season. That was kind of like that was one of the other big moments that kind of was like, this is crazy. Like a whole sports, like the NBA just canceled the season. And I mean, luckily they came back and they finished it in the bubble in Orlando. But as of as of that moment, I was like, this is crazy. Is the NFL gonna cancel? Is the MLB gonna cancel? Like that was like in my like that was kind of one of the top moments for me with how serious this coronavirus was.
Yeah. Yeah, this year we had made plans to go, you, me, and our family, like the cousins of us and our family,
Yeah,
had made plans to go to Japan this year. And
damn, yeah,
when things started closing off, and then they were like the they canceled the 2020 Olympics, which were supposed to be in Japan. I'm like, crap, man, you
yeah,
just canceled uh, the Olympics, which have been around for like a couple hundred years, or at least like more than a century by now. And I'm like, golly, that was the first nail in the coffin for
yeah.
for
Yeah,
2020.
all the travel restrictions. I mean, even the conventions, when MegaCon said it was canceled,
Oh yeah,
when E3 was canceled, like all this like stuff that you look forward to in the summer, the whole con season just, we had one or two cons here and there that had little pop-ups, but like that the main stuff, it was just kind of like,
yeah.
this
It's
was gone away too.
like the live music events I wanted to go to all canceled.
Exactly.
So I I mean, luckily I got that refund. It didn't just like evaporate into thin air, but I was like, golly, but that was a hard lesson that like everyone had to learn, of just like, all right, get used to being stuck inside, and and just
Hmm.
uh using using what you have around you uh to get by. But
Yeah,
that was that was a that was just the beginning. And then you have
just the beginning.
that was just
Yes,
the beginning, and
exactly.
then of course 2020, just like
It,
anything, it was like a magic hat of just crap. Like if a
yeah,
magician just like reached your hand into a magical hat and just like, all right, what can we pull out today? Murder hornets. All right, murder hornets. All right. What's
yeah,
about this? Oh, wildfires. I'm just like, oh God.
yeah.
So
It was pretty crazy. Like you spin the wheel, and probably every time it's gonna be something different, and it's
yeah,
not gonna be the same thing. So it was definitely overwhelming some days. On top of that, just trying to keep our health together. Just
yeah,
trying to you know make sure we always have hand sanitizer MVP of 2020.
oh yeah,
Because if we ran out of hand sanitizer, that would have been real bad. As much as I love toilet paper, paper towels, all that stuff, hand sanitizer, even if
yeah.
you have to pour a little water in there, just get the last bit, you
I
know.
know.
Just-
Make sure you get every drop.
I know,
I know.
exactly.
But now that we're at the end of 2020, we survived all that stuff. Let's look at some of our things that have gotten us through 2020. So we're gonna go ahead and hit our top list of 2020.
All
Um,
right.
and Steven, you did say that you didn't have a chance to dive into the media as much as you wanted in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, I just realized, looking back, and it's just how much I've missed on every like genre, like movies. I know movies came out, like some movies came out, not the movies that we wanted. Um, TV shows that I watched a couple here and there. I just did a lot of like going back, you know, going back and watching old movies and stuff like that. As much as I was excited about certain movies in 2020, I just, it was just everything. It was just kind of like everything hitting you from all angles, and you know, just I don't know. I would just feel kind of like, I've only watched like two movies, so if I did a best of 2020, I got two movies in the hat. That's it, and I don't want to disservice any other movies that came out. So yeah, but I'll be reacting to your list because you are a savant at the genres, and you watch a lot of movies. So this is also a chance for me to, in 2021, to go back if we don't get these movies in 2021 that we were promised or are coming out. I can go back and watch those. So
Yeah.
it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Like the movie shutting down affected me big this year, but also this gave like movie theaters chance to revamp themselves. And so one thing that unexpectedly reemerged in 2020 was the drive-in movie theater, which I am so thankful for. That's probably like my MVP of
Mm-hmm.
2020, and like
yeah,
like
exactly.
oh, the reemergence of the drive-in movie theater, um and a lot of theaters started to embrace that thing, since people weren't comfortable watching movies indoors and in an enclosed space. Like, okay, let's open it up. Let's go back to how our
Yeah.
ancestors did it, and and watch movies outdoors and in your car and all that. So that
Mm-hmm.
was a thing I'm very happy that um, theater started to do, and it looks like it's going to be here for a while now because people really responded to that. But yeah, let's
Yeah.
dive into like the top movies of 2020, and at least for me, and then Steven, I'll these could be like great recommendations for you to check out whenever you have. I am interested in hearing what your top movies is, that your list of two of 2020 were.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, if you say it, then I'll be like, all right, that's one.
Okay.
But
All right.
we'll see.
So topping it off with our the top 20 top movies of 2020 is definitely, and this may feel like a long time ago when this just released, Weathering with You, that released in
Oh
January of
yeah.
this
Okay, I'll
year.
watch that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Weathering with You was like the first movie besides like the uh award nominated films
Mm-hmm.
that I watched and I was really excited for. But yeah, that anime movie from the creator of Your Name, we all love Your Name.
Oh yeah.
But
Great.
watching Weathering with You, and the dude still has it. Still, you got that magic, got that feels, beautiful animation. Um, but like I watched it twice, and I have the movie, and like yeah, it's hard to believe that was the one of the first movies I saw this year. I'll definitely try. I'm definitely gonna watch it again. Now that I'm gonna hit like the 1 year anniversary of it coming out in theaters. But yeah, that's probably the top of it. The next one is the movie Greyhound. Have you watched Greyhound or heard of the movie Greyhound before?
It sounds familiar. When did that come out?
It's on Apple TV Plus. It was supposed to release in theaters this year, but it went straight to the streaming service of Apple TV. But it stars Tom Hanks. It's a World War II like a submarine, like a battleship versus submarine movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's really exciting. It's a short movie. It's less than like 90 minutes, but
Oh
like
wow. Yeah.
yeah, but it's like it really just like like starts the pace, starts running right off the bat.
Hmm.
So definitely like get a chance to check that out if you have Apple TV, which like if you have, I think if you have like any new Apple device, you should like
Yeah,
think they
you
give you
should be
like a
able to
free
watch
trial
it.
or yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the next movie I recommend, I just watched it yesterday. It's a movie called Promising Young Woman. Um,
Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah, have you heard anything about that?
I've heard of it. I really don't know much about the details.
Okay.
Also, I saw the post on Instagram that you're watching it. So,
Yeah,
so
it's like this revenge movie. Like this woman goes after these like toxic males. So it's really like feminine versus toxic masculinity.
it's like John
It's
Wick.
well, it's like a dark comedy,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's like one, it made me feel kind of uncomfortable because like, oh, this is you're looking at a situation where like men can take advantage of women. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
a real life
Hmm.
thing, but you're seeing it from like their perspective, and then like this story of just like, okay, what if this one girl just like had enough and just like went after all these like toxic male douches. So it's really good. There's some like surprises in there that's really got me, really shocked me on it. So so check that out. I was like, as a male, it made me uncomfortable. I think this is really meant for like for females, and like, okay, this is like enough of
It,
standing up to all this like crap out there and all that. But for
is it
me,
like
I'm just like,
brutal or something? Is it like a like
it's not like brutal where she
violent?
like, it's not brutal or violent. It's more just like cerebral. Like she blackmails a lot of
Oh,
men and all that, and it's just like it's
oh,
yeah, and it's like it's validated because these guys are douches and all that. So they deserve what's coming.
yeah, yeah.
So it's like
Hmm.
this kind of revenge flick with these surprises in there. So that's, I don't know if it's a date movie
Interesting.
or whoever. It's like something that's just like uh, yeah. I don't know if you want. I mean, it could be a date movie. There's some like cool songs in there,
Oh,
and
it's a good soundtrack.
good
Okay.
soundtrack, and like the actress Carey Mulligan does like a great job.
Hmm.
Uh,
Where's it set in? Is it set like in you know, in like 2020 ish, or is it like
yeah,
80s, 90s? Okay.
it's like set in modern day stuff, but like I
Okay.
like the soundtrack that they put over it. Um, but yeah, like yeah, definitely check that out. Um, the next one is The Trial of the Chicago Seven, which is on
Hmm.
Netflix as well as, and it released in theaters. That's like one of the first movies I saw back in theaters. But it's like this courtroom drama, but it's really it's a courtroom drama like set in like the 70s,
Hmm.
but it's really like fast paced. It's not just like objection, sustain, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
blah 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 blah. It's actually like
Talking. Yeah, yeah.
it's yeah, it's talking heads, but it's like it's really quick and it's really interesting, and it actually
Hmm.
like it's actually like relevant to today because it's like it mimics to the stuff that happened even today. So it's that's a good thing to check out.
Yeah.
Um, and then lastly, Wonder Woman 1984. I
Oh, there you go. I watched
yeah,
that one. I just
I rewatched it yesterday, and you know, despite what like some people might think, like for me personally, I think it's a good injection of like positivity and like a good message
yeah.
that I needed to hear, especially in these times. And I'm like, "Ah, this is such a breath of fresh air and such a relief. And I was actually listening to the soundtrack today, um, and like there are some of those like classic notes that you'd hear from like a Christopher Reeves Superman's
Hmm.
movie. And so I was happy to watch that twice. I mean, the first time we watched it, it was like it was good, but we watched it outdoors and it was 30 degrees outside. And
Yeah, I couldn't feel my feet.
yeah, I lost feelings in my legs around like 20 minutes in, and then we still had another 2 hours to go through.
It's
So
just
so
yeah.
watching it again indoors and actually like getting to like really dive into Wonder Woman, it was really good, especially like the message that it conveys and just that overall tone of it, which is like I don't want this to be like a Wonder Woman review thing, but it is like a tonal shift from the first movie.
Mhm.
And but like I'd say it's the era that Wonder Woman's in and the way that they play at it, like the total campiness that like it feels like a comic book. It there are comic book movies and then there are movies that feel like comic books come to
Mhm.
life. And this was one of those movies where it's just like there are some scenes in there like that looks like a comic book splash page, and or that feels like a classic comic book um, uh, idea or trope that I've seen in like a Christopher Reeve Superman thing. So
Mhm.
that really that really uh, like made its way into my list at the
Well,
last
that's
minute of
good.
it. Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. Like, I don't know. I just kept seeing a lot of backlash on social media. I was just kind of like, well, what? Like, I don't know. Like, we're so spoiled by these comic book movies, and just having it to be so perfect. Every beat has to be like a certain thing that people expect, and when something like this movie comes out and it's kind of just Patty Jenkins is throwing her ideas, she's making her choices of
Mhm.
how she wants to make this movie. I feel like people are not seeing it from her angle, I guess, how she was trying to make it. I mean, it's definitely again, it's a ode to like the Christopher Reeves Superman movies. um it's, I don't know, like, especially with DC movies these days, they're trying to, you know, show a lot more pop, more color, and all that. And
Yeah.
sometimes people still don't. I mean, they want certain things and they get it, and then they don't understand it. With this movie, I really didn't understand the backlash. I thought it was a really, really good movie. Pedro Pascal, like, this guy had a 2020, a nice year in
Yeah.
2020, like with Mandalorian. And here, like, most of the movie is centered around him, and Wonder Woman's kind of sometimes in the background.
Yeah, he really
And
does like steal the scene when he's
yeah,
on. He's just like he really leans into his character and the campiness of it all.
yeah. So I mean, there's there were some issues with the movie, but I definitely got past that and looked at it as just being a nice comic book movie that you can enjoy. And I mean, that's, you know, but breaking it down, I mean, I understand, but it was still a good movie. I didn't understand the criticisms it took. Like, a lot of, like, it's really, a lot of people are having issues with it, but as for me, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, like this year. So another movie that came out this year was Birds of Prey, and
Oh yeah, I like that one
those
too.
yeah, and those two movies are now like polar opposites. So like what you hear on people online is like, oh, there's not enough action in Wonder Woman, but like if you look at Birds of Prey, which is nothing but just like beat 'em up, shoot 'em up, girl
Yeah, yeah.
power, and people were that didn't even get a good response. And those are both like female led, directed by females. But
Hmm.
you have one that's like love and hope, and this one just like I'm going to shoot you in the face if you look at me wrong. So
Yeah,
there's always going
yeah.
to be that you can't appease both sides. So
Exactly.
all you can do is
Exactly.
just like you enjoy it because it speaks to you and it's something that you wanted to see and all that. So
Hmm.
haters gonna hate. Haters gonna hate. So that's
Exactly.
people are entitled to their opinion. My opinion is like I enjoyed Wonder Woman 1984 on
Yeah.
that. And honorable mentions. I know like that's kind of a cheat, but honorable mentions of movies that also came out. The Invisible Man that came out this year. Very very good, low budget sci-fi, and also the movie Mank is also on Netflix. It's a David Fincher film with Gary Oldman, who also I think this movie's going to get a couple maybe award nominations next year for the Oscars. So check that out on Netflix when you chance. So
All right. Cool. Cool.
yeah. So what's your list? What's your list of two? I'm curious. I'm curious.
Well, I mean, it's one of them has is Wonder Woman 1984. Um, my other one. Do we count documentaries? Is documentaries kind of like
Yeah,
a
yeah, I'd say
film?
so.
Uh, I guess there's this one on HBO Max. I guess it's kind of like a TV show, but we'll just throw it in there. Murder on Middle Beach. Um, it's about this. The son is actually doing the documentary of trying to find her mother's killer. Um, and it's pretty intriguing to see it from the son's. Like the son was actually interviewing family members, and you find out they're not really. There's a lot of division between the family members, and some of the family members might have caused what happened to her. So each episode was actually a pretty revealing to like what the son was going through, and it was just kind of, it was suspenseful but also sad, just because like here's a son trying to find the killer, and he just seems like he's not. I mean, he's getting somewhere, but it takes a lot out of him. So if you guys have HBO Max, I would recommend watching Murder on Middle Beach, because actually really good.
Is it like one episode, or is it divided up?
It's like multiple. Yeah, it's divided up. And each one kind of, you know, it does an interesting job of like, how true crime is just it kind of just puts, um, it puts everything like the scenarios and stuff like that, the different members, and yeah, it's pretty. At the end it's kind of sad. I mean, with something like that, it's always, not every case is going to get solved, but you know, it was a pretty interesting watch.
Okay, cool, cool. I know, like, yeah, next year, big plans for HBO Max. So maybe when I hop on when that Justice League starts
Oh, we got
releasing next year.
we got to do something for that, man. That has
Yeah.
to be. That has to be. We'll dive into it episode by episode. That's what I want.
Yeah, yeah. So like, I'm definitely gonna sign up for HBO Max soon. Once things start dropping on there and
Yeah.
check it out. Yeah, Justice League coming soon. The real Justice League. Just
Ah,
yeah,
it took how many years to get the real Justice League?
four I think.
For yeah, I know,
So yeah,
but
but
it's
we'll
here.
we'll get it. We'll get it somehow. The release of Snyder Cut audience got heard, and now we're actually gonna get it, and it's gonna be a 4 hour I
Yeah,
think they said they're debating whether to release it as 4 1 hour segments or an actual 4 hour movie. So I don't know.
I'd
Maybe
rather I'd rather do the episodes just so if they come out with the movie, there's gonna be major spoilers like that comes out. People are gonna pirate the
yeah.
movie, and then it'll be on the internet. I'd rather do episodes so we can like dive and talk about it,
Hmm.
like water cooler type stuff.
I know. We'll see what they do.
Yeah.
All right. So for our next segment, we're gonna dive into some TV shows.
Okay.
And did you do much TV watching this year?
Uh, yeah. I mean, from what I can remember, two shows
Mhm.
like really stood out to me, and I guess I'll just give my two shows since um, Queen's Gambit. That's probably number one for me. Like uh, just learning about chess, and just how exciting it could be to play chess. Um, especially what's the actress's name who plays
Like
the main character
Anna,
there?
the
Taylor.
Anna Taylor Joy, I think, or
Yeah. She did an amazing job, um, and like it just got me enthralled with chess matches, and you know her way to the top, and also her issues combined with that, like as she was a kid and all the way up she was when she was growing up. So that's probably my number one, and then my second one is the Mandalorian season two. Again, we talked about Pedro Pascal. He was amazing in the season. Just great episode. Each episode was awesome in its own way. You had cameos that just felt made sense and just was so cool to see new character or old characters, some characters from different line timelines or something like that. It was really cool. And I can't wait for the next season, or I guess the Book of Boba Fett's coming out next year. So
yeah,
those were my two TV shows.
yeah, yeah. So I definitely want to check out the Queen's Gambit. Like I heard Scott, like my like our from our family, he talked about the Queen's Gambit as like almost like an anime show where it's like
Oh
I,
yeah, it
it's
pretty
like
much
the
is.
moves are like almost like like do this. It's almost exciting as like you see some sports anime. I'm like,
Yeah,
really?
it's like action oriented. It's very like, how big this move is. It like it just puts it on a scale of like, I'm like, man, this is a pretty like, and the audience really like is captivated by it.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it definitely plays like an anime, which you should enjoy. It's
Yeah, like that's what like sold me. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, I will definitely check that out.
uh-huh.
And of course, like the Mandalorian, like props to them for that's one of the breaths of fresh air of 2020. Is like, oh, the Mandalorian drop. Like Friday after work, I would come home, sit down, and just like watch Mandalorian, and just like, all right, forget about my troubles, and let's dive into this world that I love for 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
the story was great. Seeing classic characters again was great. So yeah, I'd say this season was really strong, but like we have to wait a full year to
I
for
know.
the
I
next
wish
season to come.
I wish it kept going, man. I was like, man, I wish they went like 12 episodes. Some of them I don't even care if it's like just standalone episodes. Like I'll take that. Like
Yeah.
just the adventures alone. Really like was really awesome to see. It's really like I mean, me and Star Wars have like, especially with the movies, they haven't these past three movies, the trilogy was like, it was like, I was like, wasn't really down for what happened in the but this show has kind of revitalized, like, or just reinvigorated me into the Star Wars universe. And like, I'm excited for all the Star Wars announcements that are going to happen within the next, like, feels like 10 years. They got mapped out for, like, forever.
Yeah,
So I'm excited to see what else comes on Disney Plus with Star Wars.
I know. This next year, you're definitely gonna get your money's worth with Disney Plus. Like, ooh,
Exactly.
but yeah, like, yeah, the trilogy, the movie trilogy that just came out, didn't exactly land it in my opinion, but
Hmm.
I feel like the Mandalorian is, while it's not like the Skywalker saga, it's making its own path,
Yeah.
and it's also, while it's making its own way, it's also like reaching into areas of Star Wars that have been explored in other areas, and also recorrecting some of the things that like went wrong or
Hmm.
didn't like hit the mark. So I feel like it's doing the way they're doing it is like, okay, you're not getting really much filler episodes. Every episode really does like further the plot
Yeah.
along. And
Yeah.
even though like episodes are short, they're as long as they need to be. They're
Hmm.
not dragged out
Yeah.
to some insane length. Like some are 30 minutes, some are 40 minutes, or as long as the
Hmm.
story requires them to be. And so I appreciate that. And yeah, it's a good time to be a Star Wars nerd coming up. Um, I'm definitely
Exactly.
I'm definitely going to be diving into like the Star Wars Rebels on Disney Plus. I'm probably going to dive into that, um, and get caught up before the Ahsoka and all the Star Wars shows start showing up on there.
Yeah, man. They got it right, man. Every aspect of what that season was, they got it right. Even though the last episode was a little bit controversial, but I enjoyed that episode.
Yeah,
And just kind of can't wait to see what they have in store for us. Next season.
I know the House of Mouse is big, and they're
Sheesh.
dominating,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so um, yeah. But so for my shows of 2020, Mandalorian is definitely up there. The Boys on Amazon. Uh,
Damn, I need to watch that.
you haven't
I need to
watched it?
watch that.
Not or season
I
one or
have not
two?
watched that. I have not
Oh,
watched
dude.
it. I know people have been telling me go ahead and watch it. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it
did,
over the weekend.
did you ever read any of those comics or of the Garth Ennis
Uh,
comics?
nah, not really.
Okay.
I've seen people do reviews on like the series and stuff like that, and it's you know they're it's a fan favorite, I guess.
Yeah. It's it's so good because it's like it's social commentary on like today's stuff, but it also
Hmm.
draws roots from the comic books, but it's just
Yeah.
so subversive and it's so uncomfortable sometimes. And like that's what makes it entertaining, because like you'll get these scenes of just like, oh, you're just super uncomfortable, and then someone's head will just like pop like a pimple, or someone will get ripped in half and all that. So it's entertaining, and like I think the second season was done really well. I'm excited for the third season because that's when Jensen Ackles joins the cast.
What are
Yeah,
you for real?
yeah,
Wow. Okay. Okay.
he's joining as Soldier Boy in there. So um,
Soldier.
so that's gonna be a big shift from him going from Supernatural to the Boys.
Oh, that's
Um,
interesting. Okay.
uh, Another one of my favorite shows, 2020 Fire Force.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
uh,
catching up on that one.
yeah. My friend at work got me into it, and she was like, "RC, check out Fire Force. Everything is good." And I'm like, "Okay, I have it on my list." And then next thing I know, I'm just like, "Hey, I'm on episode 16 of this season," and then the next day I'm like, all right, I'm on episode 10 of the second season. I just caught up so
Yeah.
fast because it was so interesting, and the animation is like so
Top
good on.
notch, man. Top notch.
Yeah. Did you ever finish season 2 of Fire Force?
I have not. I'm actually on the first episode of season 2. I kind of took a break after because I did like a max binge. I was watching that stuff like I was watching from like I think I finished the whole season like 2 days, and I was just like, let me catch my breath real quick. And I still haven't revisited season 2, but I think pretty soon I'll get through that. But yeah, the animation and characters, they're all cool. The action is amazing. It's a really good show. I hope people are hope a lot of people are watching it. Or if they do if they're on the fence to go check it out. It's definitely worth definitely worth your watch.
Yeah. It sat in my queue for a long time because I was just like, oh, who's this guy with this like devil face, or he's just like his weird smile.
Kept smiling,
then-
yeah.
And then like I had stopped in like episode 2 according to my Crunchyroll, and it just sat there. And then okay, let me just give it a try. We'll see where it's at. And the next thing you know, I just like 2 seasons just flew by on there. So and then like I guess we're not getting a third season for another year because like I'm guessing.
Wow.
I don't know what the thing is. I'm guessing it has to do with COVID. But
Yeah.
I think it delayed production of Fire Force. So maybe I'll dive into the manga. I don't know. We'll see. I got a lot of time on my hands. But and then lastly, Gangs of London. It's on AMC Plus. If you have Amazon, you can get like a 7-day free trial. But Gangs of London, check that out because it's from the maker of the Raid movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, like the director or like
the director? It's
shoot.
So if you like the Raid and the Raid 2, you'll watch these brutal London gangsters just like fight it out. It's really good. I mean, you just watch it for the action alone. But when I heard that the director of the Raid was making a series, I had to watch it, and so I got like this free 7-day free trial on AMC Plus, and started binging what I could before like the new episodes came in. But man, it's so good. It's so good.
How many episodes is it?
I think I got up to like episode 7. I think there were like a couple more episodes after that because they were releasing weekly, so all the episodes should be up online now if you wanted to watch that. I would say watch that. It's not, if you don't like gratuitous violence, stay from it. But if you want to see like bone crunching action,
Damn, all right.
with London gangsters, and this ain't no like gangsters that you've seen in like other shows. These guys are like ruthless. They'll there's one scene where they bury a guy in like a pillar in a building, like a cement pillar in a building.
Oh, jeez.
And it's just like, God, they do this like it's
that's
like
that's episode 1.
Yeah, it's like episode 1 alone. Definitely check out. I think you'd watch the first episode for free, even if you don't have a subscription. But this guy takes out these bunch of he grabs like a dartboard dart and starts fighting people with like this dartboard dart, and it's just like, so if you don't like stabbing, especially like lots of stabbings at one time, don't stay away from this show. But like when you watch a guy like go to town and just like stab people all over with like a dart, and it ain't just like, oh, I'll stab you here. He'll stab them through the cheek. He'll stab them through the hand. it's like, oh my god, that's so brutal but so awesome. Yeah, definitely check that out.
Yeah, that's definitely the raid, dude.
Yeah, it's really good. There's like, you can't, there's, oh man, there's one episode, it's just a full shootout, but like, I'm like, god, these guys have been shot like 20 times and they're still standing. It's so crazy. Like
Oh my gosh.
these guys are like video game bosses, each and every one
Yeah.
of them, and they're
Even
just
the
like,
lackeys.
yeah,
Even the lackeys.
even the lackeys are like, there's this one episode where it's a massive shootout and people are getting shot left and right, and they're, blood's gushing out of them, and yet they're still fighting it out. And I was just like, God, you should have been dead like 20 minutes ago. How are you still alive? And they're just like, oh, it's so crazy, but it's so good. It's so good.
Okay. I
Definitely
definitely gotta check that out.
check
Yeah,
out
yeah, yeah.
Gangs of London on there. So,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
so those were the big things. Do you have any more you want to add to that?
Oh no, man. That's kind of like the big two. And definitely your recommendations. I'm definitely gonna go back and check some of those out.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you can get through Gangs of London real quick, and
Okay.
all the episodes are you can make like, they're almost like cinema quality. They're so well
Wow.
done and all that. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, moving on. We'll hit up some music in this section here. My list is pretty small because I only listened to like 4 albums this year.
Uh-huh.
Um, so, and like, I wasn't one for like, oh yeah, I get like, this
Yeah,
artist
yeah.
dropped a new album, because like, no, all the artists like took a break this year except for one who's on my list. Taylor Swift is on
Oh
my list.
boy.
The Folklore album, the juggernaut that came out of nowhere. Uh, somehow she made an album, Taylor Swift, and during the pandemic, and it's really good. It's really different from her other stuff. It's a lot more laid back, a lot more to her roots, when she
Okay.
was like a teenager. So like, it was nice to hear that rather than just like, I mean, some of the lyrics aren't like, they're still kind of like foul, and it's one of them, on her other album Evermore, is called No Body No Crime, and it's
Uh-huh.
just basically how she the story is like, she supposedly killed someone and buried the body, and
All right,
that's
Taylor.
Taylor's. Yep.
All right, Taylor.
That's,
We're gonna believe that.
yeah.
Just
Some of the lyrics are just like, oh, this is, the tune is really
playful.
nice. Yeah, really playful, and but then you hear the lyrics and it's just
It's like, oh,
like, oh crap, that's really dark.
left field.
Yeah,
Talk about left field.
I know. Um, Also, the Wonder Woman 1984 soundtrack, really good.
Okay.
That Hans Zimmer, I was like, that first, that, especially like when you hear it in like the opening scene of Wonder Woman, it just makes me smile, because it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
it starts off with that classic Wonder Woman, her theme, like,
Yeah, yeah.
but it subverts it this time, because it just adds all these like, it's just this fun, vibrant kind of feel on top of this low foundation, and it's just like, that vibrancy is like, oh, this is really really good. So Hans Zimmer did a really good
Good,
job on
good to see you
soundtrack.
back, Hans. Good
Yeah,
to see you back.
I know. It's good to for you not to be on every Christopher Nolan film out there.
I know, right?
It's good for you to change it up a bit. But yeah, that's one of the things. The Weathering with You soundtrack. Big fan of um, Japanese music, so I really enjoyed that. And then lastly, the album "Love Is Dead" by Churches. I probably listened if I had a
Okay.
Spotify, that Spotify list, that this album would probably be up there because I'm like, it's my go-to when I don't know what to listen to. I'm just like, okay, I guess I'll listen to this again. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
consistently good and all that. So,
Okay, cool.
do you have any music things?
I only have two, pretty much. Number one for me has to be Logic's "No Pressure," his final album. A lot of really good, like really good songs that you could just listen to on repeat. And it's just it kind of sucked to see him leave the rap game, but he's doing better now. I mean, he's on Twitch, he's sponsored and everything, so I guess he's making the best of it. But that album was really good. And the last album I kind of just listened to. It just dropped like maybe a couple weeks ago. Was Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 3. Like that was awesome. Like it kind of was out of nowhere because I don't really pay attention to when like stuff releases. So when I heard Kid Cudi and he was trending on Twitter and how these songs like that kind of like throwback to his first album. I enjoyed it, and plus like there's a song that I really love. It's called "She Knows This," and actually has a sample of Scott Pilgrim. A
Oh,
sample of
really?
Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, you need to listen to it. "She Knows This" by Kid Cudi. It has like the first couple seconds have a line from Scott Pilgrim. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, those are kind of like the two albums that just popped in my head that was like really good. And there's all the songs, stuff like that, like all the Travis Scott songs that came out, those were good. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
What's the album that like gets you through the day? Like if
Um,
you
it's probably Logic. Like
Logic.
that's the most that's the that's the most time I've spent with that is with the Logic album. I mean, just driving, like it has like good driving music. Like you're just running some errands and you just play it, and it's just like, it just feels nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely the album to get me through the day. So
Oh, good.
yeah, no, I also revisit a lot of old music too. So a lot of revisiting, a lot of nostalgia-driven stuff throughout this whole year.
Yeah.
Um, definitely would be different, if we didn't live in the times that we were living in, but it is what
Yeah.
it is, I
How,
guess.
how are some of your favorite artists handling the pandemic? Did they like release anything new? Like, did they take this time of quarantine to be like, hey, I'm actually gonna like work on stuff rather than just like sit around the house? Or
Well, I mean, like, my favorite artist is Travis Scott, and he dropped like, a song in October, and then he dropped a song for Tenet, the movie.
oh yeah,
So yeah, so he was pretty busy on top of his other stuff that he does, but yeah, like it's just pretty much kind of low key, just nothing really too major other than Logic. Like he's done with rapping, so that was his final album, so it's kind of a big deal for him, I guess.
okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool, nice. I'll definitely check out that song you recommended.
yeah. She
Maybe
knows this, Kid Cudi.
that's probably
You'll
gonna be
be.
my hype song or something, and I'm just like,
Oh yeah, it's
yeah,
nice.
I
Oh,
need something
it's
to throw down to. I'm gonna play this. Siri,
it's
hey,
nice.
play this.
It's just.
Okay, so any more you want to add for the music portion?
No, man, I'm all good.
Okay, so for these next two sections, I'm just gonna blow through them, um, because they're mostly stuff that like helped me through this year, podcasts and comics. Have you listened to any podcasts this year?
I've actually, to be honest with you, I don't really know any. I mean, the only podcast I've been really listening to on daily basis is like the Bill Simmons podcast, talks about sports, a lot of sports podcasts, and the Bold City podcast, which is like a Jacksonville Jaguar related podcast. So those are
Okay.
kind of like the two I've been kind of listening to
Hmm.
regularly.
Okay. I've heard the Bold City one. I need to check that out.
Hmm.
Um I like listening to podcasts that are here in Jacksonville. So yeah,
Yeah.
so and speaking of which, one of those is the Short Box podcast. Uh,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
that's a Jacksonville based podcast. That's like a comic book, like geeky stuff that I'm really into, and it's nice that it's based in Jacksonville. So like when they recommend something, I'll be like, okay, I'll put that on my list of things to check out here in Jacksonville. So supporting local podcasts.
Hmm.
The next one is Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Dude, man, this this podcast saves my sanity every week. Especially like during working early mornings, especially during the pandemic. Like if you just need a laugh, if you want good quality like interviews and just the comic genius of Conan O'Brien, dude, man, just check this out. Like
Okay.
put it,
Okay.
add all the episodes are so funny, and even like usually when you listen to a podcast, you'll skip over the ads. You're like, okay, fast forward 30 seconds. Um, this time I'm just like, oh shoot, the ads are so funny. I'm just gonna keep on listening to them. So all the episodes are quality. Um, um, yeah, definitely check out Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And then another one that gets me through the early mornings is this podcast, True Spies. It's narrated by Haley Atwell and
Okay.
Vanessa Kirby. It's like these stories about like these spies and their missions. Like these are actual true stories of like declassified spy missions, and some of them are really crazy, and some of them are just like, man, this is happening like beneath our noses. People are actually doing this stuff. This ain't a movie. There's some like real James Bond stuff happening in real life. Um, so definitely check that out. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Go ahead and
Okay.
add that to your podcast. And it's
Okay.
just
Cool.
like that has gotten me through so much of this year. Um, so that's the podcast. Comics of the year. Comics have gotten me, have helped kill time while, especially the first couple months, being stuck indoors. So if you ever get a chance, check these out. The Immortal Hulk by Al
Okay.
Ewing. Really good. Really, it's very horror, body horror like. But like the story, I'm like, I think they're still releasing new issues. I'm like, golly, you got a lot of story to tell. You're actually making the Hulk really interesting. As
Yeah.
usually it's not just like Hulk smash, smash, smashy. This is actually like diving into like deep cut lore and whatnot. Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky. I just bought a bunch of issues recently, and I'm like, golly, how does the guy who co-wrote and drew Sex Criminals write one of my favorite superheroes as like this broken, like this guy who's struggling with all these morals? Like, how does this dude like write like that? Um, but yeah, when I heard that Elektra had taken the mantle of Daredevil in issue 25, I'm like, okay, I need to catch up and see what's going on.
That's
Um,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
another one, Wonder Woman: Dead Earth. Um, it's drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, and it is like the art is super good. If you ever read the story Extremity
Mm-hmm.
from Image Comics, like it's in that vein of just Wonder Woman kind of leading these people on this like post-apocalyptic Earth, but it's like the drawing is so epic and so good. And so he's also Daniel Warren Johnson announced that he's doing a Beta Ray Bill series this year or in coming out in March. And so I'm excited to
Whoa.
see him do Beta Ray Bill in the comics because
Oh, that's cool.
it's gonna be cosmic, like cosmic heavy metal and all that. And then the
Yeah.
last one is the graphic novel Pulp by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Um, they these two have just been like releasing stuff nonstop this year, and so this was just like a good romp, Western romp that I enjoyed. So
Yeah.
definitely check that out. So
Okay.
anything else you want to add? That's all. That's all I have for the top of my top 2020. Any other categories you want to add to?
Nah, man, you hit it out the park with that. So
I know, man. It's like, dude, so much free time.
yeah.
But when I'm not sleeping and I'm not at work, I'm like, okay, I need to do something productive, or I need to read something, um, not just lay in bed all day.
Yeah.
So I usually try to watch a TV show or read a book. I'm definitely looking forward to a lot of books that are coming out next year, comic books, and then um, in terms of novels, there's a lot of like Star Wars novels coming out next year that I want to check out. So yeah, that's the 2020 top best of list. Um, that's the things that made it through the noise of today, and help me get through it. So so kind of wrapping it up now. I know this is like a been a long kind of talking spiel, but kind of wrapping it up as we look to the end of 2020. Um, like, and we hit our final thoughts. Like, what do you think? Or who or what are the VIPs of 2020 to you? You kind of hit it on the head that like I said, like drive-in movie theaters were a
Mm-hmm.
VIP. What was yours again? Your
Oh, hand
MVP,
sanitizer.
hand sanitizers. That's like an MVP that gets a, uh most valuable player award for 2020. Um,
um, I
I,
mean, for me, I mean, also the Jacksonville Jaguars are the
I,
MVP.
are you being sarcastic, man?
I'm not being sarcastic because we have been losing for so long, but we haven't been losing all the way.
Mm-hmm.
But this year
Just enough.
We lost just enough to lock in the top pick of the NFL draft for next year. And luckily, there is a QB prospect in the name of Trevor Lawrence, and he is equivalently a unicorn prospect. Like he is everything a QB should be, and he's coming to Jacksonville if he declares, which he should be declaring. So that's the MVP, the Jaguars, because they finally lost to the point where they got the number one pick.
Dang.
And it's bittersweet because it took all that losing to get to where we're at. But I'm glad it's this week. And I'm ready for changes, man. I'm ready for changes. The Jaguars gave us hope that we haven't had since probably 2017, 2018, when we went to the AFC Championship game. So there's my little soapbox, my sports soapbox, that I want to thank the Jacksonville Jaguars for losing as many games as they did, because they got us to a position where we could be really good, possibly, for the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully. It's just the hope through the light that, through the darkness that was 2020, a light has shone above the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm so damn proud right now. I'm all in.
Our number one pick hinges on if we get this guy or not.
I mean, pretty much he is the clear-cut number one. Like, there's a gap between this dude and the rest of the QB class. And he's coming to Duval, which, in my lifetime, there hasn't been a prospect that has been like, he's head and shoulders above everybody else. And he's coming here. He's coming here. He's not going out. He's coming to Jacksonville, and this is the opportunity that we have to have. Like, it's great. That's my MVP. Thank you, Jaguars, for doing what needed to be done. You didn't need to win any more games after the first game, and you did it. So.
What if this was like the plan all along for the Jaguars? Like, okay, we need to lose this many games and just to get this one thing. This is a long game. This is the actual
sacrifice to win.
This is the sacrifice to win. So
I'm happy, man. This is the happiest I've been a Jaguar fan in quite some time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Dang. So I had to put it. I didn't know where I was gonna put it in this podcast, but you gave me the opportunity, and I just want to say thank you, Jaguars, for being another MVP of 2020. Not because you're in the playoffs, because you lost so many games that you got us a chance to get that prospect that could lead us to the playoffs and beyond. I'm not going to say Super Bowl, but playoffs and beyond.
Dang, man, that's a soundbite. I'm gonna clip that and send that to Shad Khan.
Oh, great, cool. He's like, sir, you've been banned from the stadium. Okay. No. How did you get this?
Anonymous sources. Yeah. Speaking of like being on that sports page, another VIP for me would probably be like the wrestling promotions based here in Florida. They took a hit this year, like AEW, WWE, but they also revamped their format into a way that, not only are you getting like your favorite wrestlers, but you're also getting it in a new way to experience it with like the WWE Thunderdome. And also they're being very safe with their audience too. They're giving them, like, of course, like the first couple months, like we were supposed to go to WrestleMania this year. That was another plan that 2020 torpedoed.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, I had to watch WrestleMania online, and it was a different WrestleMania this year because like there was no one in there. Yeah. Like it was just the wrestlers and some cameramen and the commentators. So but they did their best. They you still try to get like hyped up for your wrestlers, but they also revamped their format to include like the Thunderdome, and AEW based here in Jacksonville. They put on some quality shows here.
We need to go to one. We need to go to a show.
I want that, dude, man. I get the emails all the time, like AEW tickets on sale. I'm just like, yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, especially Sting is back. Sting, man, I wish I was in the building when Sting returned in AEW. I was like, dang, man, that was a missed opportunity. But hopefully, they're still running shows and they're still inviting people, and it seems like their setup's pretty safe. So
I know. I'm wondering like how many, because like we're AEW's based here in Jacksonville and tickets are always on sale. Like how many people in Jacksonville have always like bought tickets like you do, man. There, some people are just like, man, I've been to 20 AEW shows, and they're $50 a ticket. I'm starting to run out of money here, because before they just like go
Exactly.
to town, and they'll the people in other towns would do that, but
Yeah,
everything's based in Jacksonville today.
exactly.
So yeah, good job to them for helping us through 2020. And
Yep.
then any other VIPs for you? Any people that stand out? Anything that stand out?
I mean, not off the top of my head. There's definitely we're missing a lot of people. I could tell you that.
Brie Larson on YouTube. She started a YouTube channel, and so
Oh,
that's,
really?
yeah. A lot of people started like YouTube channels.
Yeah, or
Also,
podcasts. A lot of people start
oh
podcasts
yeah,
too.
yeah. A lot of people, they got stuck where they were quarantined, or just like, oh, let's do a podcast. Hey, heck, we started a podcast.
Yeah,
And
see, we're in the wheel.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
so.
So yeah, shout outs to everyone who started a podcast or YouTube channel or Twitch account, because they're like, we needed to pass the time somehow.
Yeah, man, like keep going with it. This next upcoming year, 2021, we definitely want to, grow our podcast. And if you guys have a Twitch or a podcast, keep going with it, man. Like just keep creating content, and you never know what it might turn into. So
Yeah, 2021 might be the year we see a Steven on a Twitch, because you going all fancy with your PC stuff and all that.
hey, man,
So
I'm trying to attack it with one thing. We got the streaming, the podcasting, the gaming for on a PC.
yeah,
I'm like, why didn't I figure this out like years ago when I need to stop spending money on, consoles and games and stuff like that, when I could just get a PC and,
yeah.
have the all in one center.
I'll tell you the truth. I'm looking at like a gaming laptop right now, and
All
not a
right,
full
all right.
built PC, but like a laptop that will like at least get me through the door of PC gaming and all that. So
Okay, more
hopefully
content,
those,
man.
yeah, hopefully that stimulus check shows up soon. We'll see. But yeah, stimulus checks. I don't know if they're MVPs because they're in and out, but
No, it's an up and down with the stimulus check. It's one day they're like, sure, we'll give you the money. Next, it's like, oh, it's not coming.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
boy, I mean, we just got to take what we can get and hope the right people are in the right positions to provide us more relief.
yeah. Yeah, the dynamics are going to change in 21, 22 days. We're going
Yep.
to see shift of things. Hopefully for the better. Not to get political, but hopefully things will.
It's hard not to get it was hard not to get political in 2020, because literally it was a line drawn in the sand.
Yeah,
It's like come November, it was like one of those war games matches. It was like, it's this guy, who you rocking with, and then so I mean that's another big thing was the political side of it. It was just it was exhausting at some
yeah,
points. I was just kind of like I just want to get this over with. So luckily we're done with that, and hopefully things will start to get a little more smoother with this new regime. So.
yeah. With this, hopefully things will turn around, and like, we'll always be able to stand outside and breathe some fresh air. And
Exactly, and I want my student loans taken out too. So if we can get that going, that'd be really appreciated.
first 100 days, that's what they promise. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
That day is coming soon. So we'll see how
Yeah.
that goes out. So yeah, so that was 2020. But like, let's start looking forward to 2021. Like, what are you looking forward to in 2021?
Just
again, just trying to stay healthy, just trying to do new things. Um,
Like have you learned
just
anything from 2020 that you can like move on to 2021, or like what are some
uh,
lessons that you've learned in 2020?
well, I mean, with 2020, with this year, I've gotten my first apartment, so I've been living on my own. Well, I've been living with my girlfriend for the past like 9 months. So I've definitely learned a lot of lessons in regards to taking care of my money, bills, and stuff like that, and what to actually look for an apartment. So next year, when the lease is up, we could continue living in the same complex, or we could start looking for a new apartment, which is helping me a lot since I actually know what I want in an apartment now, instead of just kind of like trying to find a place and trying to prove to your parents like, yeah, I can move out and I can survive on my own with bills and all that. And so that's really some of the things I'll be taking to 2021, is like how to money manage better, and also trying to find the right place. Because I mean, I like this place, but it's there's definitely some other stuff that I want in my next apartment that I'm willing to kind of take the chance and move now. So that's kind of like the main thing going on in my head right now for next year.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the like a lesson I learned in 2020 was like you have to so one of the things like one of my things that affected me was like conventions shutting down, movies shutting down, travel shutting down, all the stuff that like I thought like made me or like who I was like shut down. So I had to really be learn to really be content with what I have, who I am, and all that. Like, oh, going to conventions, that doesn't define me. Going to all these movies shouldn't define my happiness. Going to all these like material things like shouldn't define who I am as a person. So that was a big lesson that I had to learn, and hopefully I could take that into 2021 and not just be like, oh, woe with me. I can't go see my favorite celebrity at MegaCon or something. I'm gonna go cry in a corner. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be more content with what I have, and hopefully that makes all the difference and all that. So
Yeah,
so
that's a really good point. Like, this year definitely tested our mental health, um, and just it kind of just turned our worlds upside down. Like the things that we do on a regular basis, we weren't really there weren't there. So it's just kind of like, again, it's like reflecting on who you are, and you know what you know what what you want to do in the future, I guess. So I mean, yeah, I definitely felt at some times where I was like, I can't do this. And you know you see on social media people are doing other things, and they're like, why am I not doing that? Or they're going out and having fun, but first and foremost is always your health, because you never know. Like, this virus was such a silent killer that you didn't know. You didn't know when it was going to show up.
yeah,
So
yeah, there was always that risk of like, should I
yeah,
go do something just because it will make me happy? But like, there is that risk of transmission if I do something wrong just because like I feel like doing it, which a lot of people, you saw it. A lot of people, they kind of made that choice of like, I don't want to be stuck indoors. This
yeah,
COVID's not gonna stop me from going to this pool party because that's what makes me happy is pool parties or going out.
yeah,
Sometimes you just have to like sometimes you have to take an L and just for the greater good and just like, okay, I'm not gonna risk uh further harm just because I want to go to a convention or because I want to go here or do this and whatnot. So sometimes you
Yeah,
just gotta take that L.
exactly. And it really kind of showed, like, this year showed how, like, which people were actually, like, you know just there's a line between, like, the safe people and the not safe people. And we saw on social media just the amount of people that are just willing to put other people at risk. And it's just it was kind of it's kind of disheartening to see, but also it's just like, it's the reality. Not everyone's gonna follow you know the like, follow the law, or not the law, but just like, just safety for others. So yeah, it was kind of truth serum for everybody. Like, who are these people?
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, yeah. But so we're at the end now. Final days of 2020. Any
Thank
last
God.
thoughts? Any last thoughts for 2020? Anything you want to say to 2020 before we
2020.
hop off this burning, sinking ship and onto better places?
Well, 2020, man, it's a long year. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff happened. I mean, even stuff we didn't cover. It's been so crazy. Definitely a year that I'll look back and just say, like, what a time. What like is an outlier. It's one of those things that you'll just remember because of not only just the things that happened, but just you know I mean, it's crazy. Like, in our lifetime, we have a pandemic. Like, like, it's crazy. Like, we survived. We've are continuing to survive it. So I'm just glad for my health, and I'm glad for um, my family's health, my friends' health, um, and hopefully continuing moving forward. We'll get past this and we can start to get back to our normal lives. And 2020, thank you for Trevor Lawrence. And that's it for me.
All right. It's like close the book and we're out. But yeah, like this year, I'm very thankful that no one in our immediate family got sick. Um, like like I always like COVID was so prevalent that like, oh, you didn't know uh not if you were getting it, or it was more like when, because it felt like the odds were so against you. But like thankfully none of us have gotten sick. um I'm very thankful for, like, even though this was a hard year for a lot of people, um I'm very thankful that I was still able to continue employment at my job.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
they were able to uh help me through it. They've actually um this is a very successful year for the Target Corporation, which is like hard to say in 2020. But um, they I'm very thankful that even though it's tough times out there, I was still able to uh, keep my employment, keep my health, um, and so it wasn't entirely a, a failure of a year. There are some like bright spot moments. I get to hang out with you. So this whole Zoom thing has been able to keep our family together and connected,
Exactly.
despite us all being separated.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take the wins where I can. So I'm very very
Exactly. Yeah.
thankful. Yeah, to you, to our friend Neil, um, who um, I like. One of my goals this year was to collaborate with creative people, and he was a good collaborator to for a lot of projects. But like, there are people that you think about along the way that, like, like they're the ones that like helped make 2020 help me make
Save
the transition.
2020 pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful for you for our
Thanks,
family
bro.
and all that. So yeah, but final thought of 2020, like let's just do
2021, where are you at?
2021. Yeah, let's just be better. Let's just do better. Like
Yeah.
yeah, you really
We
saw
have the
some.
blueprint. We have the blueprint. Here's what you're not gonna do. And this
Yeah,
year we're gonna stick to, not
yeah,
doing what we just did last year. So
yeah. New Year's resolution. Let's not do what we just did last year and all
yeah.
that. So yeah, so that is the end of our 2020 podcast. The end of episode 3 of the Anything But Everything podcast. So thank you all for joining us.
Thanks
Thank
for
you for
listening, y'all.
thanks for listening to this extra long podcast today. But we had a lot to say. I feel like we covered it very well. So hopefully we'll
hmm
get these to your ears, and we'll see where 2021 takes us, to infinity and beyond. Am I right?
Yeah, man. We'll see y'all next year.
Yeah.